The VO Meter, measuring your voiceover progress. Whether you're a veteran voice actor, just starting out, or don't even know how to set a level, we're here to help you avoid the pitfalls along your voiceover path to success. The VO Meter is brought to you by Global Voice Acting Academy, Fidalgo, JMC Demos, Studio Bricks, Voice Actor Websites, and Roswell Pro Audio. The VO Meter is produced in part using Source Connect made by source-elements.com. And now your hosts, Paul Stefano and Sean David.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 118 of the VO Meter.
Measuring your voiceover progress. In this episode, we're going to interview the head of Voice 123, Rolf Veldman. But before we get to that, it's time for our VO Meter reference levels.
VoiceOver Extra brings you the VO Meter reference levels. Seriously, guys, that's the best you could come up with? Hey, it's your show.
All right, so Sean, what's happening in your VO world?
A lot of stuff. It's been one of those scenarios. I mean, it's been kind of dry for a couple of weeks, but then, like last week or so, it was just when it rains, it pours scenario. I got a new YouTube documentary client named Fode, which is kind of looking into the dark side of the fast food industry and in companies like Coca-Cola and McDonald's and stuff like that. We've done 3 episodes together and really been enjoying that. But it also happened while I was in the middle of an audiobook project, so my voice was super dry and worn out by the weekend. Other than that, I got to do a couple fun character commercials for my Chinese client. I got to play a robo vacuum and a food scale, which was fun. And I actually got to use a fun technique I learned from voice actor Mike Bell of Transformers and G.I. Joe fame, because there's this one scene where the food scale is trying to point out that it's waterproof. And so he dives into a fish tank and he's like, "Oh, did you forget what happened to your scale the last time?" And stuff like that. And
How'd you do that?
obviously you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just kind of taking my finger and fluttering it around my lips so that way I don't have to drown myself trying to emulate bubbles and stuff like that. So I actually learned that
cool.
from Mike Bell at a con like a decade ago. So it was very cool.
Sounds very SpongeBob-y, too.
Yeah, totally. It was a lot of fun. It was. I've been noticing a trend. When I do character stuff, they tend to be kind of mischievous, a little snarky, kind of a Bugs Bunny type. But anyways, so on top of that, I've been doing some long corporate narrations for one of my Indian clients. I did a couple of, I guess you could call them anime audio drama characters for the company StoryCo. And on top of that, I've just been doing my usual membership management for GVAA. And we got a couple of cool workshops and webinars coming up this month. So a friend of the show, Joe Davis of Voice Actor Websites, is going to be leading a webinar called Using AI to Supercharge Your VO Business. So I know AI is a touchy subject, but let's be honest, it is a tool, and there's a lot of things that you can use to kind of reduce the mental load for things that we don't like to do, like creating marketing emails or lists of potential clients for outreach and things like that. So Joe Davis will be talking about that and other ways that you might not have considered in how to use it in your own business. And then at the end of the month, on June 26th, our breath and body coordination coach, Trina Jensen, is going to be doing a workshop on body and breath coordination. So she did a webinar last week sort of introducing some of these tips and techniques, and now she's going to do a 3-hour workshop in the evening on the 26th, which I'm going to moderate. So I've worked with Trina a lot through our coach-led workouts where she goes over these tips, and she's taught me a lot, particularly the idea of not holding in your social belly. So we all know what that means. We all try to make ourselves look a little bit better when we're around people or when we're on camera, and we might consciously or unconsciously flex our six-pack or lack thereof. And as you might guess, that constrains your breathing and your posture. So you're not able to breathe as unconsciously as you could be, and you're kind of leaving like some relaxation and some diaphragmatic power on the table. So ever since working with her, I was just like, all right, release the social belly. And I've been a lot more comfortable, actually up my back pain a little bit. And I'm noticing a lot more energy in life in my reads thanks to that. So if you're curious about getting more in touch with your body and breath, maybe you should check it out on the 26th.
I had no idea that was a thing. Maybe I'm just, I don't want to say I'm the most well-adjusted person in the world, but I would never do that. I consider like walking around sucking in my stomach or making pretend muscles. I don't know. It's never even occurred to me. Maybe I'm comfortable in my own skin.
I guess I'm just really narcissistic. I don't know.
I mean, I've definitely stood up straighter, but that's because I have a slouch. Like I had scoliosis as a kid and had to go to years and years of adaptive therapy. So I am self-conscious about that, but nothing with like stomach or weight things. Interesting.
I know. I was a fat kid. I'm self-conscious about it.
Oh, yeah?
I'm a bit of a fat man now, so I need to get back to the gym. But I don't know. It's just we don't need to go into my past traumas and poor self-image.
No, let's.
That's for my therapist.
Let's talk about the first sixth grade co-ed dance. Go. That could be a fun episode, actually.
I rocked that slow dance. It's all right. I actually got to dance with my crush, and I felt good about it.
Yeah, they don't really do that anymore. At least in my town. I mean, it is Maryland, and they call it the California of the East. It is pretty progressive, but my kids in public school have never had a dance with that name. They had this thing called, their school is called, no, I shouldn't say what their school is because I'm just encouraging people in unmarked white vans going to pick them up. But
don't dox me, bro.
It's called School Name Activity Center. And all it is there is a dance. Like there's a DJ and lights and glow sticks, and kids can do that if they want to. But they also set up a bunch of like volleyball nets and basketball hoops and face painting and snacks. So the kids can just go there with no pressure. And if they want to dance, they can. If they don't, they just go and play ping pong or tetherball.
That's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah, I think so too. I was explaining to my now about to be 8th grader what a nightmare those middle school dances were for us because they were so awkward and nobody wanted to talk to each other. And this is a much better use of their time, I think. So kudos to my kids' school in the Baltimore region.
No, that's great. I like it a lot. I mean, yeah, and then you have to rent a suit or maybe borrow one for your dad or and the pressure, right? So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, that's really cool. I would rather have like a family or like a fun day rather than a dance myself.
So speaking of the GVAA events, I'm looking forward to that Joe Davis event because not only is GVAA a sponsor of the show, so is Voice Actor Websites, from which Joe Davis hails. He's the founder and part owner. So that'll be fun. And I love that guy so much so. I don't know if I've ever told the story publicly. People that were there have seen it, but I've actually eaten food out of Joe's mouth.
What? My God!
This is why you need to go to Uncle Roy's VO BBQ. So
I should have guessed. Oh my God!
We're at the barbecue.
It takes a lot.
inside during the latter portion of the night, where everyone's been there for a long time, and we're doing like show tunes and just chatting. And I've had way too many beers, and I'm trying to explain to somebody how much I love Voice Actor Websites. So that's why they're a sponsor of the show, because I'm a huge fan, and how much I love Joe specifically. And somebody like dares me. They say, "Well, how much? What are you going to do to prove it?" And I said, "I'll tell you what. I'll eat that carrot that he's chewing right now out of his mouth." So, so he like leaned over, and we did like a suck and blow type of thing, like from when you were in high school and playing the game with the cards. Dropped it in my mouth and chewed it up and ate it. And everyone's like, "What the hell was that? Why did you do that?" But in my mind, after like 37 beers or whatever it was, I was showing how much I appreciated Joe's, not only his company, but his friendship as well. So
he's such a good sponsor. You imprinted on him like a baby bird.
Yeah.
And so he
canceling
was a good
sponsorship
mama
in
bird.
3, 2, 1. No, hopefully they'll still be around. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
he might hack our website because of this.
Yeah. If you want to see how much you can love Joe Davis after that webinar, please sign up right now and hang out with Joe and Sean.
Oh, my God.
All right, so work-related stuff. Unfortunately, I've been really slow. So we were talking offline about how it can seem really daunting when you're having a slow week or even month or 2 months. It's been the case for me right now. So it's good to hear that you are doing well, because we tend to lock ourselves in our booths and be sort of thinking about our own stuff all the time. So I'm sure there's lots of people out there right now who are thinking that it's doom and gloom, they should get out of the business, or they don't know how they're ever going to make any more money. Just rest assured, there are people that are still doing well, and maybe go on social media and seek them out, or go to the next conference, like One Voice is coming up. Talk to people there, and you'll probably feel better after getting it off your chest and talking to someone who's in a similar position, but maybe doing a little bit better than you are at the moment. So
Yeah, I mean, I've been there too. I mean, I was like last month, and it's easy when you're bombarded on social media with like people who are already frustrated or depressed, or like, and it is discouraging. I'm not going to lie. But then once you start getting busy with your own projects and life and stuff like that, you're like, all right, world's not over yet. Like maybe we had a little bit more time before that happens. And then more light at the end of the tunnel. So congratulations to SAG-AFTRA for reaching a tentative agreement in their video game strike as of this recording. It happened earlier this week. So I know many of our friends, many of our union actor friends or people working in video game industry right now have given up work. I hope it lasts. I hope it doesn't go back on strike again. It is a sign that I feel like people are, AI is losing its luster as a for performance VO. So thank you again to our union reps and anyone who was involved with the strike. Your efforts made all the difference.
Yeah, I agree. So actual work stuff, I do have a few things. I mentioned last episode, I think, that I finished recording the last audiobook I was doing called Stronger Than Evil, the book about the real-life Vatican exorcist, Father Gabriele Amorth. That is now sent to the publisher, and it should be appearing soon. So if you're listening to this in the next couple of days, it'll probably be available. So go to Audible or wherever you get your audiobooks. You can download Stronger Than Evil, narrated by yours truly, by Father Gabriele Amorth. And what else is going on? Oh, tomorrow, my annual trip to the neighborhood pool. I am DJing the local elementary school's 5th grade graduation party. I've done this for the last 4 years, even though none of my kids are there anymore. It's still the school that my kids went to, and I know a lot of the teachers, and still have some friends that have younger kids there. And they keep asking me. So the PTA knows I'm around, and they ask me to do it. I don't charge them a lot. I think when my kids were there, I may have charged them $50 just because I needed to buy a new speaker. And the last couple of years, $100. So very cheap on the DJ side. And, I bring candy to give out to the kids for trivia, and I try to curate a playlist that makes sense. A lot of summer songs, like Summertime by Will Smith, although maybe that one needs to be scratched now, post-Oscar slap. And I do Mungo Jerry in the summertime, and what else? School's Out, the Alice Cooper song. So things that are appropriate for a graduation party during the summer. So that'll be fun too. And unfortunately, that's really pretty much all I have going on, other than to announce one more time, because I don't know if we'll get another episode out before then, but I will be speaking at the One Voice Conference in Dallas, which is occurring on August 21st through the 24th. And I'm doing a panel there as well as a class on live announcing. So join us in Dallas if you like, and hope to see you there.
Sounds good. Well, that wraps up our VO meter reference levels. We'll get to Rolf in just a minute, but before that, it's time for our
questionable gear purchase.
So I got a boatload of dumb shit I'm doing or contemplating doing. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to?
I'll just get mine out of the way.
Okay.
You guys know I've had a Mac Mini in my shopping cart for months now, but next week, Apple is finally doing their back-to-school promotion, so I'm going to try and get a little gift card out of that, or maybe some free AirPods. But I'm waiting for next week to do that. But next episode, I'm going to have a new computer. I promise. What about you, Paul?
Well, first of all, let's start with the good. Sponsor of the show, Roswell Pro Audio, has sent me another mic to review, on loan this time. I don't know if we mentioned, but they had given me a K87, mini K87 before, which I love and still using. But I was curious about how a mic with a dual diaphragm would work, and if they had any, because I really didn't know. So I just reached out to Matt McGlynn, the owner, said, do you have any mics that have a figure 8 pattern? Because in the past, that has helped me a lot with the big glass door in my Studio Bricks booth, because generally the mic is sitting at about a 45-degree angle from the far wall and facing almost dead on the glass door. And I know from using some other mics with figure 8 patterns that it has helped to have the biggest null part of the microphone on the sides as opposed to the back in a cardioid pattern. And so I asked Matt, and he said, yeah, the one that we have is the Roswell Delphos 2. So he sent me that, and I had the website up here. I talked a little bit about it. First of all, it's huge. It looks a lot like a U87, and it's a large diaphragm studio condenser. It's a transformerless circuit built from hand-selected components. High output, very low noise, true cardioid, omni, and figure 8 polar patterns. Includes a custom shock mount and a flight case, which I did get as well. So it has a 10 dB pad, which I did notice it was on when I got it. And it also has a switch on it to flip the patterns. It has a frequency range of 20 hertz to 16 kilohertz, with a response curve carefully tailored to provide full lows, neutral mids, and high frequency detail without sibilance. Sensitivity is 40 mbpa with a self noise level at 12 dBA, which is pretty low. So that's the specs. As far as my thoughts, it's really, really good. And I'm not surprised because all of their stuff is really, really good. It is huge, but not as heavy as I thought. I was actually fiddling around with the MIDI K87. You might have heard it while Sean was doing his current events. But they're not much difference in weight. I forgot how heavy the actual K87 is, even though it's only
I remember that
4
one was a
inches
weighty.
long. Yeah.
it was a big boy.
So this has a much bigger grill, which is in some cases is easier for me because I can address it better. I'm always paranoid that I don't have the sweet spot of the Mini K87, so I do like the bigger grill because it's right in my face. It's just next to the end of my jawline, which is where I like to hang it on the overhead roof mount. And the figure 8 does help. So my task basically is to run some room tone in the Studio Bricks without even being in the booth, and seeing if there's any rumbles, like low-end garbage that has plagued me traditionally, and it's not there. I turn on the figure 8, it's almost completely gone. So it's kind of exactly what I was looking for, and it's the same sort of response I had from the Sennheiser MK8 when I had it, because I noticed that right away. That's when I first noticed that a figure 8 pattern was making a difference. I remember reaching out to George Whittam and saying, hey, did you know this? And he's like, yeah, duh. How do you not know that? That figure 8.
I think he put that in either one of his episodes or in one of his video reviews.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what my first thinking was like, oh, so this is like a multi-pattern version of the Mini K87? Do they sound pretty similar in cardioid?
They do. Well, let's switch it. Let's see. That's the pad. So that should be cardioid. And does it sound any different to you? It's in the same spot, but on cardioid now. Can you hear me?
How would you describe it?
Or maybe that's the pad.
Yeah, you sound a little bit further. Okay. I was going to say it does sound quieter.
I think that was the pad. All right. And this should be cardioid. Okay. So, I hear it a little bit different in my headphones. It is a little bit different, but, and I do see the rumble coming back on my waveform. So, I think the sound is very similar in cardioid, and that's what Matt said, basically, that they should sound very similar in cardioid. But the reason, like I said, I had it is to have those multi-patterns. And in my case, it would help quite a bit in isolating this door. I'm not sure I'm going to keep it because it's a loaner, and it is double the price of the K87 Mini. So, I mean, that's why, because it has the multiple capsule patterns, or multiple capsules to have the separate patterns. And it has the pad, and slightly more robust, obviously. But in general, I would say it's a fantastic microphone. You can't go wrong if you're looking to get a multi-pattern microphone. And check it out at roswellproaudio.com if you're interested. So that's the good. The bad is my computer experiment from a couple of months ago to a year, I think has failed miserably. So you might remember I was trying to force an older MacBook Pro from 2012 to upgrade to at least at the time, a current operating system, which was, Sequoia? Sonoma. So I did. I downloaded this program that allows you to trick the Mac operating system into updating the software to the latest one, even though your hardware isn't supposed to be compatible. So I did that, and it's worked okay for a while, but now it's getting really slow. And in addition, I talked about this in the last episode, the MacBook Pro I use as my everyday computer for recording, including right now, is starting to have some issues too. So I'm getting glitches in my audio locally, which I know is not related to internet because I'm getting it in things I'm recording just on my computer, and I think it's just bogged down with too much stuff because it's only a 500 gigabyte hard drive and I need more. So looking to probably punt both MacBook Pros, or maybe just use the one for travel that I'm currently using as my desktop, quote unquote, and then look at getting either an iMac or a Mac Mini. So that's one of the bad things. Questionable, which is the whole point of this segment. I put in a new router this morning, and that's been questionable performance so far. I had a mesh router system, if anyone cares. I was using the Netgear Orbi, RBR and RBS20, sort of a low-level mesh system, a dual band. I bought a slightly better one now by TP-Link, and this is the Deco AX3000. It's a Wi-Fi 6, which is supposed to be the new standard, and it's a tri-band mesh system, and it's working okay, except for one stupid thing, which has been driving me nuts all day. I spent literally my whole morning trying to fix this. I have several Ring cameras in my house, and for whatever reason, they will not connect to the TP-Link. It seems to be a known issue. I've been on several message boards, both for the company, on Reddit, and general websites, and it seems to be a known issue that the old Ring systems, like the original doorbell and the doorbell 2, just won't connect to anything TP-Link. And that was my experience as well. So I solved it by being a pack rat and having old stuff. So I read one comment where somebody said, I fixed it by plugging my old router into the TP-Link and just using that as a guest network. And I said, oh, I can do that because that's what I was doing up until an hour before I installed this thing. So I put back in the Orbi router just as an access point, basically, plugged it into the WAN port of the new TP-Link, and I'm using it only as a connection for the Ring doorbells, and that's it. And shouldn't take up too much bandwidth for that. And the bonus is it will allow all the other bandwidth for the stuff we use it for most, like TV and this recording right now on Source Connect, or the kids playing video games. All that stuff can be on its own router, and the Ring doorbells will be by themselves. So that is an interesting non-voiceover related thing, but kind of, because we use the internet to connect to everything we do almost.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that didn't work. I mean, I actually used a TP-Link Wi-Fi extender because my router is like halfway in our house in the kitchen, and there's just not an easy way to like have a wired connection because my studio's on like one end of the house. So we'd probably have to have it going out the window on one side, over the roof, and then across the house through another window, and then you have an open window. Yeah. But anyway, so I just put the extender kind of halfway between my computer and the router, and now we have like a very strong signal throughout the house. So sorry that didn't work with your current setup, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's good enough right now, and the speed is better. So that's what we're really concerned with. Is at first I thought my computer problems were internet because my son was also having internet problems. So I think we were having some issues with the router itself. So hopefully it'll be better now. And I have one last thing to talk about, also extremely questionable. Some of you may have seen I put my Studio Bricks booth up for sale on the VO Gear Exchange and on the Facebook Marketplace. That is because I think we talked about last episode, Studio Bricks is not going to be able to continue with us as a sponsor for the show. And it doesn't mean I don't like the product, but we're talking to some other companies. I don't want to give the exact details of what we talked about, but we have talked to Bear Cave. They're a company in Canada that make a product similar to the Whisper Room, but a little bit thicker, it looks like. I've talked to Whisper Room themselves in North Carolina now. I've talked to Drum Perfect, who do mostly drum booths and drum cages or drum shields. They're based out in Arizona, and they were actually the manufacturer of my first booth that I bought used. And I've talked to Clear Sonic, who also does drum shields and drum cages for mostly for band performances. The place you've probably seen them is at like a church. If you've ever been to a church that, especially a new age church that has modern music, they typically will have their drummer inside one of these drum booths so it can not blow out the rest of the congregation or the band themselves. And then finally, I've gone back to Vocal Booth To Go to see if they are interested to come back as a sponsor. They were our original booth sponsor several years ago. I just found out that Jeff moved the company to North Carolina, or at least he moved to North Carolina. I think he still has some operations here in Maryland, but one of the biggest attractions for them, for me in the past was that they were a local company for me, just about 35 to 40 minutes away. So I'm not sure if he still has that warehouse. I followed up with him to see. But congratulations to Jeff on moving to North Carolina. So I will keep you posted on what goes on with that. I've had some offers in the booth. I'm not sure I want to make the jump just yet, but I will keep you posted as to what, if anything, is going on.
All right, excited to see or to hear those updates.
So that pretty much wraps up our questionable good and bad gear purchases this episode, right after these special messages.
How many times has this happened to you? You're listening to the radio when this commercial comes on, not unlike this one, and this guy starts talking, not unlike myself.
Or maybe it's a woman that starts talking, not unlike myself, and you think to yourself, geez, I could do that.
Well, mister, well, missy, you just got one step closer to realizing your dream as a voiceover artist, because now there's Global Voice Acting Academy. All the tools and straight-from-the-hip, honest information you need to get on a fast track to doing this commercial yourself.
Well, not this one exactly.
Classes, private coaching, webinars, home studio setup, marketing and branding help, members-only benefits like workouts, rate and negotiation advice, practice scripts, and more. All without the kind of hype you're listening to right now. Go ahead, take our jobs from us. We dare you.
Speak for yourself, buddy. I like what I do.
And you will too when you're learning your craft at Global Voice Acting Academy. Find us at globalvoiceacademy.com.
Because you like to have fun.
Walgreens, because it's flu season, and you live in a place with doorknobs and handrails and, people.
We tried booking a vacation rental on one of those other websites. They don't always tell you everything.
The stars take it to the red carpet.
We are back live from the red carpet. California leads the way for change in America, and so does Kamala Harris.
Rated M for mature. Claire Redfield.
And who exactly are you?
So, yeah, what hashtag should I use to describe a grown man in a tuxedo wrestling a goat?
And prior to 1933, many of them belonged to a variety of political parties that were now outlawed in Germany.
This is the story of how Q got curly. Quinn was crazy about curls. Curly fries, curly straws, curly-haired dogs.
Hey, Jay Michael here. Thanks for listening to the VO Meter podcast. It's one of my favorites. If you're looking for a great demo like the ones you just heard, check out jmcdemos.com for more information.
In these modern times, every business needs a website. When you need a website for your voice acting business, there's only one place to go. Like the name says, voiceactorwebsites.com. Their experience in this niche webmaster market gives them the ability to quickly and easily get you from concept to live online in a much shorter time. When you contact voiceactorwebsites.com, their team of experts and designers really get to know you and what your needs are. They work with you to highlight what you do. Then they create an easily navigable website for your potential clients to get the big picture of who you are and how your voice is the one for them. Plus, VoiceActorWebsites.com has other great resources, like their practice script library and other resources to help your voiceover career flourish. Don't try it yourself. Go with the pros. VoiceActorWebsites.com, where your VO website shouldn't be a pain in the you-know-what.
So that pretty much wraps up this episode of the VO Meter.
Measuring your voiceover progress.
As we're recording this, it's the, third week of June? Second week of June. And honestly, I don't know what the hell's going after this. I have a lot of vacations coming up and the trip to One Point, so it may be a while. We don't have anything specifically scheduled, but once we do, you'll be the first to know.
We look forward to making the next episode. We hope you look forward to hearing it. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of the VO Meter. To follow along, visit us at www.vometer.com.
We'd also love to hear your comments or suggestions for the show. Or if you have a questionable gear purchase, tell us all about it on our Facebook page or on Twitter at the VO Meter.